I'm going to show what changing the tire compounds on different settings does to the car, or does to the performance of the car. And first, settings, comfort soft tires with a setup that is specifically for comfort soft tires. These are the settings. These are the modifications and brake bias. Back to the settings. Alright, let's show what it's like to drive. I spent several hours tuning two setups again, but for the Supra. Notice I'm on the brakes and it's oversteering the way I want. I'm going to try to make the cars slide. That's the point of this video, is to see how the cars slide. Not how fast it can go, but how it slides. Again, good rotation into the corner. It's a slow speed corner, so it's not going to slide much. The gearing is not quite right for this corner. Low grip tires on a relatively high horsepower car, it's going to slide on throttle. A little bit of understeer that time. Rotation on the brakes. I don't know if you can really see that. You can hear it in the tires. Took that a little too gingerly. Okay. That's natural Gran Turismo performance. Can't tune that out of the car. Brake about 100. I didn't try to slide it into that corner, there's no point. It's not a trail braking corner. For this you can slide it off throttle. Slides really nice off throttle and it's not snappy. Oh, unless I do that. Big angle. Okay, big angle slides are snappy. Well, I kind of ruined this corner. This is the most important corner. Let's see if I can get up to speed. It's fourth gear. A little bit too much throttle. It's easy to slide, is what I'm trying to show. Is that I'm sliding it understeered in that corner. It's fairly easy to slide. Over throttling still is a big problem. Again, can't be tuned out in Gran Turismo. Good rotation on the brakes, sliding into the corner. A little bit of over throttle. Catchable. Okay, there's a lap. Not fast, just very slidey. Some people like slidey setups, and they're very fun. I enjoy them, but they're not fast, usually. Alright, now I'm not even going to go into the detail sheet, just change Sports Soft. And it's the same suspension settings and differential settings with Sports Soft tires. So, also very oversteery. They're much harder to catch because the front springs are not stiff enough for these tires. So when you change the compound of the tire, what you're doing is trying to get a tire that can produce more G-forces on the brakes and in the corners and on acceleration than a lower quality compound tire. Oops, missed the turn. And so what happens is that because there's more grip on a better compound, it produces more G-forces into the suspension. And if the front springs are too soft, it causes a lot of rotation on the brakes. Throttle performance shouldn't be changed too much because it's actually more grip. So at speed, a car can generally put out like a half a G, less than half a G on acceleration, but it can put up to a tire's maximum G on the brakes. So I'm mostly showing the braking performance here. Nice off throttle rotation and a little snap there. A little bit harder to catch. It's drivable though. It's not undrivable. It's just not preferred. Like a little bit later. Lots of grip compared to the other tires. Good rotation. Okay, brake into here. Lots of rotation on the brakes. Have to catch it with the wheel. And rotation here too. Very easy, and then snappy on the exit because it's it's a grippier tire, so the soft suspension causes it to be a little bit harder to catch slides. Okay, not comparing times, just the slidiness of the car. And now on to different settings. These settings are designed, put the wrong tires on, for the sports soft compound. Let's go to the detail sheet. Much stiffer suspension. Same anti-roll bar. I found with the Porsches that while they're not going to be exactly the same values simulated in the game, but they seem to work pretty well for this car as well. And brake bias and all that stuff. And differentials are a little bit different. But this is specifically for the sports compound. We'll see how this drives. Good rotation on the brakes. Very grippy with the sports tire. And this amount of horsepower. Brake later. I don't know exactly how much. Good rotation on the brakes again. This time I didn't understeer into that corner. And the grippier tires are just naturally more snappy than the less grippy compound. So there's no way to tune that out in Gran Turismo. I've said before in previous videos, I'd like to tune it out with the dampers, so the dampers don't go stiff enough. So I'm showing the oversteer. It's catchable, slidable. Still can't full throttle drift, which should be possible, but it's very difficult in Gran Turismo. Again, not going to slide it here. Good rotation on the brakes, sliding, catching it. More rotation on the brakes. A little bit too much sliding, but catchable. So the other setups were very capable of rotation on the brakes. And they slid controllably, a little bit more snappy with the grippier tires though for the sports compound. However, with this particular setup that's specifically for the sports compound, I'm going to use the Comfort Softs. It didn't change anything except the tires. And now it just understeers on the brakes. So stiffer suspension makes the car generally perform better. It's more, it controls the weight more. But if you don't have the right suspension for the right compound tire, it's not going to perform as intended. So I can slide this. I can probably over throttle it a little bit. Give it a good power oversteer. And if I blip the throttle, I should be able to drift it. This car doesn't have it's not supposed to have a clutch pedal. So we just got a power oversteer. It has enough horsepower to do it. But it won't rotate on the brakes. There's some rotation. I turn the wheel and it's just understeering. As compared to this particular setup was oversteering on the brakes with the sports compound. And the other setup was oversteering on the brakes with both compounds. But with the stiffer suspension, it doesn't work well with a lower grade compound tire. Also a little bit more easy to oversteer on throttle because of the stiff rear spring. Brake early here because I'm on the lower compound tire. I mean, the car generally performs pretty well. It just understeers on the brakes. I mean, I can catch the slides. Oh, just as I was about to say, I can catch the slides just as easily. It understeers like this on the brakes. And of course, I broke late there anyway, but I couldn't get the car to rotate on the brakes. Too much throttle. And understeer. So the point of this video is just to say that you should choose a suspension natural frequency or spring rate that is specific to the tire compound you expect to use in the car. And that's that. Till the next one.